everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am T of TessaLunaLuvia.com, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, I'd love for you to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up to let me know you'd like to see more videos like this one. Okay, now today we're going to talk about the title of this video, and that is about revenge. Okay, now a lot of you are going, T, girl, spiritual people are all about love and peace, and what you know about revenge. Well, hold on to your seats, kiddies, because we're about to take a wild ride. Okay, so a lot of you know that I'm adopted, and I had a really, really bad childhood. I wasn't adopted until I was 11, but I was in 19 foster homes before that. And then when I finally think, yay, I'm getting adopted, I was not into a very nice family. The mom, she was a good woman. The dad, he wasn't very nice. We'll leave it at that. It set the kind of what was right and what was wrong about relationships for me. I kind of had a backwards idea of how relationships should be because of the way I was raised and what I saw. So when I very first got married at the age of 16, yes, I ran away from this cruel home and got married at the age of 16 to a man that I ended up divorcing before the age of 18. That was number one. I didn't know that men weren't supposed to be cruel, you know, because that's all I ever knew growing up. In foster homes after I got adopted, you know, I didn't know that. That wasn't the norm, you know. So after I divorced him, I got married to number two. Number two, we'll just leave that one alone because there's so much to go into with that one. Number three. Number three, that one was really bad. You know, he had really abused me a lot, you know, and put me in the hospital, and yeah, that one was real bad. And then the last one that I divorced and married twice and then divorced again, he wanted to run everybody's life like an army, kind of like we were soldiers in the army and kids had to do what he said, and they hated him for a long time, you know. He's kind of changed now for the better, but they hated him for a long time. I'm going to say in 2012, I had so much hate in my heart. I had so much resentment, so much anger, you know, and not just because of that, but all my friends would come and go. They would use me, take advantage of me, and leave. You know, before the whole psychic thing ever happened, I would have friends use me because I kept a good job, kept a nice house, you know, and they would use me for money or use me for whatever, but it was never a legitimate like friendship. And then after I came out the psychic closet and I got like going pretty quick, you know, I had people that would come in and leech off me to like be on my show, pretend they're my friend. You know, I would help them and get their name out there, and then they just kind of would be like, oh, thanks for the help, I got it from here type of deal. I had like 3 people do that to me that I thought was like true friends, and the whole time they was using me. Yeah, so by 2012, I'd had enough, you know. I had so much hate, revenge, just so much hatred in my heart, you know. I'd never really had love for anybody or anything because I never got it. I never knew how to give it. You know, the only things I ever really loved, like unconditionally, were my kids. You know, my kids were everything. I'd do anything. I'd die for them, you know. But that's the only thing I ever had that ever loved me or ever showed me what love is, you know. So I had a ton of hate in my heart for all these people, and I would think about revenge all the time, or I should do this, or I should do that, or I know this about this person and I should tell, or, you know, I was like that. I truly was not headed down a good path. You know, I was going to give up all the psychic stuff. You know, I was a lawyer downtown. I just was going to hate everybody, hated people, didn't care about nobody. Nobody cared about me type of attitude. And I was just really hurt and really mad. And what happened is all this pressure, all this stress, all this anger, everything inside of me caused me to have a stroke. So I literally had a stroke in my 30s. It was crazy. So I had a stroke and went into a coma. And I was that way for a while. When I came out of my coma, I had forgot a lot of things. I forgot almost everyone in my past. I forgot slowly but surely, you know, week by week, month by month, I remember things and I'll put it together, you know, and that, again, that was 4 years ago, or almost 5 years ago. So I've remembered a lot of stuff since then. But you know what? I'm glad that I can't remember like 60% of it, because the parts I can remember are so cruel. I can only think that's why I had so much hate and resentment. I mean, I can remember feeling the hate and the resentment and all of that, and just wanting to get back at these people and feeling so hurt that I just want to hurt everybody. I remember those feelings that I had, and as time goes on, I do have memories that come at me, and I don't like them, and I just block them. I'm just like block. I walk around the house all day, block, because I don't want to remember anything, right? And so anyway, for years, from 2012 till 2016, yes, even in 2016, I was real careful who I friended. You know, I had a select, and when I say select, I mean a handful of people that I considered friends. And even after having a handful of people that I considered friends, about half of those, or about 3 of those, did me wrong. Even after being so selective, you know. And it's not, and the crazy thing is, it's not that I didn't pick it up or sense that it wasn't right, but I always give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's where I most of the time go wrong, is I think, oh, you know, I have these horrible feelings, but I'm going to give people a chance. When if I just would have acted on my intuition and acted on my feelings, this probably wouldn't have even been a problem. And it's always the people that I knew were going to do me wrong, always do me wrong. You know, so, you know, I have friends that didn't want to see me do well, got jealous when I started to do well, you know, didn't want to be my friend no more because I was doing well, stopped talking to me altogether. It's like, oh, she's filming and flying and going places and whatever. But, you know, I would have brought you on my show if you were in that field. If you were there in the beginning, you'll be there in the end. I'll still help you as much as I can. But when you get jealous and you're like, I ain't got time for that, I don't have time for you, you know. I don't have time for negative and jealous people in my life. So, you know, I have felt revenge. I know what hate and revenge feels like. You know, I've had such a bad life. You know, if I could sue the state of Indiana for my horrible adoption and all the bad foster homes I was in, I would. But you can't. Can't sue because you were adopted by bad people. That law needs to change for sure. The one thing I learned an important lesson about was not letting my past define who I am today. I had a bad childhood, and this is true. I had a bad marriage, and this is true. I've had not a great life. There's not very many things I can look back on and say, oh, I'm glad that happened, or oh, that was great. Again, except for like the birth of my children, you know. But I can't let my past define who I am. For years, I let it define me. I thought, you know, I felt like I wasn't a great person growing up. I felt like I wasn't loved growing up. I felt like nobody cared about me. I felt like, you know, I didn't even care about myself. So I let everything that happened to me in the past define everything that I was doing at the present time. You know, I felt like I didn't deserve love, so I wasn't worried about getting love. And then I was upset because I didn't get love. You know, but it took me a long time to realize that every single thing that happened to me, even though it was bad, happened to put me right where I am right now. Now, as crazy as that sounds, because nobody wants a bad childhood, nobody wants a bad life. But as crazy as that sounds, if everything wouldn't have happened the way that it did, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you. I wouldn't have opened this side of me. I probably would have been happy doing something else or been happily married, you know, and whatever. But I wouldn't be here, you know. I probably wouldn't have even opened this side of me to find comfort. Because growing up, this is what I found comfort in. Talking to spirits, talking to ghosts, you know, having somebody to talk to and connect with and understand me, you know. And I would have had all that, you know. So that's why I probably don't judge people by their past. And I do give people so many chances, is because I know I've been there. I've done that, and I wouldn't want anybody judging me for the past that I had, you know? So I don't judge myself or define myself by my past, because I'm not there anymore. I'm here. So whatever happened, happened. I can't go back and change it. It's not doing any good to worry about it. It's the same thing with people who have done you wrong. You could get out all your anger. You could go beat them and choke them to death or whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. And it's not going to change what happened. And even though you're thinking, but it'll make me feel better. But will it? You know, hurting another person or taking revenge on another person, does that make you a better person? Do you feel better about yourself, about the situation, or have you just added more to it, more to the drama? You've just created more drama is what you've done. You know, I'm not the type to turn the other cheek. You know, I'm a country girl. You know, I will kick somebody's, you know, but I have learned to let a lot of things go. A lot of things that aren't worth it. You know, arguing with somebody till you go crazy isn't worth your mental and emotional stability. Let that person battle their own demons, and you work on your success and working on you. You know, again, the more successful you are, the more mad they're going to get anyway. You know, because that's the last thing they want to see for you, is for you to be successful. You know, but when you take what they do to you and you let it define you and you let it wear you down and put you to a place that you can't get out of, you can't be successful, because you've lost yourself, and you've lost yourself because of them. And no revenge is going to help that. But to take yourself, pick yourself up, decide that you're not going to deal with that type of negativity no more, or you're not going to let that person, if you can't get away from that person, like that's a parent or that's a husband and you're having trouble getting away, just let them stop affecting your inner sense of you, you know? Don't let them change who you are. The more my ex-husband would hit me, the more I started to deserve it, because I was probably doing something to piss him off. And I believed that, because he had me believe in that. I had lost me, you know? But it took me a long time to realize he did that to keep me here, so I couldn't realize my potential here. Because if I was ever to rise above him, in his eyes, that would make me better than him, and that would make him mad, because he wants to be the better one. So when I realized that, and I left him, and I started working on me and becoming more of a powerful me, then I realized I can be successful. I am somebody. I can make this working at my passion and my purpose. And Nobody is going to bring me down and make me quit or make me stop or make me mad, because now I've learned to walk away. Now I've learned not to let it affect me to the point to where I'm personally, emotionally, physically ill for 2 months and can't even get on Facebook because somebody hurt my feelings. Or, somebody said something that I felt like I couldn't come back from. Or I wasn't able to tell this person how I really felt because they blocked me and I had it all inside. It took me a long time to realize none of that matters. People are always going to have something negative to say about you and to you. No matter what you do, the reality is you cannot please everyone. So why not just focus on pleasing you? Because if you can make yourself happy, then the people who truly want to be around you and friends with you and in your life, they'll be happy too. And especially, they'll be happy for you. I still hold that hate in my heart. I still hold those thoughts in my heart. But now, instead of redirecting it to revenge, I redirect it another way. Because I learned last year, as I started to get more successful and started doing more group readings and doing filming and being asked to do TV shows, I realized that the people who done me wrong now were mad. Mad I was successful. Mad I was making it. The people from my childhood, the people from my adoption, the people that I grew up with, the people that did me wrong and thought, oh well, I'll just use her and then I won't need her, are mad now. They even try to contact me now. Girl, I see you're doing good. No, girl. And I realized that I don't have to get back at these people in a hateful way. I don't have to jump on these people and choke them to death. All I have to do is be a success to myself. And they're mad. So I got to thinking, here's my motivation. I'll just be super successful and do everything for me. Not for you, not to show you, but for me and my kids. And I'll just be the best me I can be, and the better I am to myself and the more successful I become for me. I realize that the true friends, the true people who really care are still there. And the ones who were never truly my friend to begin with are weeding out. But you know what? That's how I want it. That's how I want it. When I become successful, I want to share it with my friends. I want to share it with my family. I want the ones who aren't really my friends to go away. I don't want to be used anymore. But I did realize that the best revenge that I can do to somebody is be a success. Because if you really want to make somebody mad, be a successful person. That'll piss them off. Just a thought by T. Bye.